One of my favorite games as a kid was the Carmen Sandiego series that I played on the computer. One of my favorites was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? If you're not familiar with the game, you basically went around trying to find clues to figure out where and who stole various artifacts around the world. Now, all these folks were part of this gang called the Vile Agents. Their leader is Carmen Sandiego. Again, I really liked it because you put clues together to solve mysteries. I feel like I have found some clues in the last 24 hours to let me know that there is a story here much deeper than I ever anticipated. I started the video about questions you should ask before enrolling in an ID Academy, honestly, because I did a similar video around questions you should ask going to graduate school. Let me be clear, no college ever hit me as hard back as some of the stuff that I've gotten in the last day after the video has dropped. So this video is actually in response to some of that, and then I'm also going to dive in a little bit deeper to some of the questions that I asked in that video. I've gotten some questions about like, well, what did you mean there? I need more information, etc. So sure, I'll give you more information if that's what you're wanting. But before we dive in, if you haven't seen the first video, do not pay for an ID Academy before you watch this. Please stop what you're doing. Pause me right here. Go watch that video. It's worth your time and it'll give you kind of a little background. Or if you don't want to click the link or if you can't see it, stop what you're doing. I put it in the description below. So I will wait. And hopefully now you've seen that video. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. First thing I want to address is overnight after I dropped the video, I received a message via my website. I have a contact me form that basically threatened me and told me I need to take this video down or else. And I just want to be extremely clear. I'm not intimidated by you. The fact that you have to be anonymous is disgusting. I think it shows what spineless trash you really are, the fact that you had to do that. And yeah, I just want to leave it at that. If anyone has any issues with what I've put out, and if you're really that angry about a video where I'm encouraging people to think critically, you are definitely the problem. Just putting that out there as well. Okay, so question that I got specifically was, what do you mean by looking into somebody who's running an academy? Now, I think that should be relatively clear, but a couple questions I got was, what do you mean by a servant heart? You want to make sure that people that are leading these academies, at least in my opinion, again, this is all my opinion, right? So I think it's really important that they have a servant heart, meaning that they're doing it for the right reasons and they're doing it to really, again, better the broad profession. So I lived the first, 5-6 years of my career under a rock, and I am very lucky to have had some fantastic leadership in my life to get me to where I am today. And when I think of someone with a servant heart, the best person I have to give this example of is Dr. Ray Jimenez. And I met Ray back, I believe, in 2017 or 18. I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't remember the time, maybe in 2017. But the fact that he was just so kind to me, he took me under his wing, he supported me, he gave me one of my first freelance jobs. Like, I just cannot say enough about Ray Jimenez. And Ray Jimenez has pushed me to be the leader that I am today. And I'm getting emotional because he does mean so much to me. And to me, that's what leadership and that's what professionalism is about. It's not about padding your own pocketbook. It's not about, being a scuzz bucket or running these marketing schemes, right? It's about helping other people. And that is what drew me to the profession to begin with. I think that has been the luster for many people. And the fact that there are people taking advantage of people just absolutely disgusts me. And if you're not ticked off about it, then I don't know. I don't understand, I guess. But so someone else was asking, well, so how do you vet somebody against kind of, this criteria? Again, look at what they're putting out in the world. Have a great example of this. There is somebody that talks a lot on social media and is very popular in the LinkedIn L&D community. And if you read this person's posts, they're mostly about them. They're talking about how great their email list is, how much money they've made, and all this stuff. And what is so funny about this is anybody that knows this person knows that they don't know what on earth is going on. In fact, I think they're probably running an academy of circus peanuts at this point. And I'm just flabbergasted by how many people just think this person knows what they're talking about, yet they've never put out any portfolio piece that I have seen. They often put out like different forms of media, but then when people ask questions, they're like, oh yeah, I paid somebody to do that. So it's clear they don't even do their own editing. So there's some things there that to me are not kind of sticking, right? It's like, if you are so prolific and great, then put some work out there and let's see what you can do, and let's talk a little bit. But it's so centered about them. I would say this person does not have a servant heart. Now again, I don't personally know this person. That is my opinion of this person. But again, I am pretty sure that they run this Academy of Circus Peanuts, and if you don't watch out, the ants will come and eat the circus peanuts. Just saying. Another question that I got for further follow-up was about the whole money thing, right? So again, myself, it takes a lot for me to give you my credit card number. I have worked very hard to get to where I am today, and I like to think that I'm also a very generous person, but I don't give my credit card and money out lightly. I just encourage others to do the same. Another thing that I didn't say in the first video that I want to put out there is I do think there are good ID academies out there. I never once said that all of them were bad, and I think there are some that are run by reputable people. And I can't tell you which ones to go to and which ones not to. If you can't make that decision on your own, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And I think that is also another kind of symptom of some of these academies. I think that people think if they wiggle their nose, they magically become instructional designers. And yes, teachers have a lot of great experience, a ton of great experience that do translate well to ID, but I'm sorry, you are still changing careers. And I think you have to keep that in mind. You have to. And you also have to temper expectations. You are not going to get an entry-level ID job in the 110s, 120s. You're not going to do it. But there are people that believe that because they've heard what other people have said about it. And I'm just telling you that is not an accurate thing. If I told you how much I made as an instructional designer at Amazon in 2010, I think a lot of people would fall out of their chairs. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It's probably not what you think it is. And so even though you've worked in a different profession, there are transferable skills. You will still have to do work in order to transition into an instructional designer. And if somebody says that that's not the case, they're wrong. Okay? There are people that get lucky, sure. There are people that are able to get contracts and get their foot in the door and work their way up. Absolutely. But that is not the norm. It won't happen for everybody. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm walking down the boulevard of broken dreams here, but I'm realistic. And I'm also someone who loves learning and development. I'm someone who has been in the profession for a while. I'm somebody that I think a lot of people respect. Maybe they don't now. That's fine. The people that don't respect me obviously didn't like what I had to say in my first video. But my point is, I just want you to pause, think things through, and then be a good steward of your own resources, because, ladies and gentlemen, the most precious resource on planet Earth is your time. You don't get your time back, so don't waste it. Just think about things, ask questions. If people get defensive about questions, that's a red flag. Why would people get defensive about the questions that you're asking? You have every right to get the information on the front end, ask those questions, let them prove to you, right? Let them prove to you that they're worth your time and your money. That's all I wanted to do in the video. And it obviously upset people because I think people are worried that I'm going to decrease their income. So guess what? If you're the prolific ID god or goddess that you say you are, maybe you'll have to get some contracts now instead of just taking money from other people's pocket. All right, with that, I think that's where I'm going to leave today's video. Don't worry, I am not done with this topic. I'm sure there's going to be more stuff come out of this. But again, if you've had good experiences, bad experiences, I want to hear them. And also want to know, like, what other questions do you think is important for people to consider? I think that if we can all kind of help each other, again, be better consumers of information, I think that makes the world a better place. So until next time, thank you so much. And finally, I just want to share some love with people who really, I think, came to my aid during all of this when I kind of got attacked a little bit. So I just want to sincerely thank Tim Slade, Cheryl Oberlin, Sarah Stevick, Heidi Kirby, Aaron Chancellor, Alex Godinez, Jonathan Rock, Joe Suarez, Jacqueline Hutchinson. I love you all, truly, and I'm very, very blessed to call you part of my learning and development family. Until next time.